Fairhaven Hospital was the kind of place you'd only hear about in dares or ghost stories, the ones you laugh off during daylight but regret when night falls. It had been abandoned for years, left to rot after rumors of malpractice and, yeah, the usual ghost stories. But Rachel, our fearless leader, thought it'd be fun to explore. "Come on," she'd said, grinning as we stood outside the fence. "We'll be in and out in 30 minutes. Josh, her boyfriend, was all for it, of course. Ethan, the prankster of our group, couldn't resist the idea of scaring the rest of us. Sarah didn't believe in ghosts and wasn't afraid to say so, and then there was me, quiet, hesitant, but too scared of being called a chicken to back out. The hospital looked like something out of a horror movie. Broken windows, rusting doors, and graffiti covering the walls. I told myself it was just a building, but standing there with the moonlight barely illuminating the shadowy entrance, I felt like we were already being watched. We slipped through a broken side door. The air inside was heavy, damp, and it smelled like mold and something metallic. Our flashlights barely made a dent in the darkness, casting long, eerie shadows on the peeling walls. Ethan was the first to break the silence. "This is it?" I thought it'd be scarier. His laugh echoed, but it sounded wrong, like the hospital was mocking him. We wandered into what used to be the emergency room. Broken gurneys were scattered around, and shards of glass crunched under our feet. Josh found a stack of old patient files and started flipping through them. Patient 4382. Diagnosed with insanity, he read, his voice theatrical. Sarah rolled her eyes. "It's just a rundown building," she said, but I noticed her flashlight hand was shaking. That's when I heard it, a soft rustling sound from the far corner of the room. I froze. "Did you guys hear that?" Ethan, ever the joker, crept toward the sound. "It's just a rat," he said, swinging his flashlight dramatically. But before he could finish, a loud bang shattered the silence. A metal cart had rolled across the room, stopping dead in the center. None of us had touched it. "Wind," Sarah muttered, though she didn't sound convinced. Rachel suggested we check out the operating wing next. "If this place is haunted, that's where we'll find something," she said, leading the way. The operating room was worse than the rest of the hospital. Rusted surgical tools were scattered across a table, and the smell, it was stronger here, sharp and decaying. I didn't want to go in, but I didn't want to be the only one who stayed behind either. I hovered near the doorway while the others poked around. Ethan picked up a scalpel and waved it at us. "Hey, want a free surgery?" Suddenly, the overhead surgical light flickered on. The brightness was so jarring, we all froze. "Who did that?" Josh asked, but no one answered. The light flickered again, then went out, leaving us in darkness. That's when I heard it, the faint sound of humming, low and off-key. "Let's go," I whispered, my voice barely audible. We turned back toward the hallway, but it wasn't the same. The corridors twisted and stretched, turning into a maze. The way out was gone. "This isn't right," Rachel said, her voice tight with panic. Josh grabbed her hand. "We'll find another exit. Just keep moving." But the humming was growing louder, joined by the sound of footsteps, light and quick, coming from behind us. "It's following us," I whispered, my heart hammering in my chest. Ethan spun his flashlight around, but it didn't catch anything. Still, the footsteps got closer. Rachel didn't wait. "Run," she said, and we bolted. We ended up in a room with no windows and only one door. It was lined with hospital beds, their sheets rotted and stained. Josh shoved a bed frame against the door, trying to barricade it. "We'll catch our breath here," he said, panting. But I knew we weren't safe. The air felt wrong, heavy. Ethan tried to lighten the mood. "See? No ghosts, just..." Before he could finish, the beds began to move. Slowly at first, scraping against the floor, then faster, like something unseen was pushing them. "It's already here," I said, my voice shaking. The others turned to look at me, but before anyone could respond, our flashlights went out one by one. In the pitch black, I felt something cold brush against my arm. I screamed, but the sound was swallowed by the darkness. The last thing I remember was the humming, low, off-key, and far too close. Then, silence. When I woke up, it was daylight, and I was alone. The hospital looked empty, lifeless. The others were gone, and no one believed me when I told them what happened. But sometimes, late at night, I still hear that humming. And I know, Fairhaven Hospital didn't let us leave. Not really.